Hey, welcome to this week's video blog. Today we're going to show you how to renovate perennial gardens. One of the things you want to be looking for when you're renovating your perennial gardens, and it tends to happen just over time, sometimes just with neglect, other times things get crowded and overgrown, but in this bed you have lots of different perennials that have sort of started to grow together. You have weeds, you have grass growing into the bed from the lawn, and you really just want to start looking at what perennials you can save and what you can't. If there's a lot of weeds intertwined with the perennials, you could try and spend the time getting all the grass out, but most of the time you just have to get rid of that grouping. Generally, if it's an older bed with lots of perennials, you're going to have plenty of other perennials to divide and fill in the spaces where you may have had to get rid of some perennials that were just too weed infested. So what we like to do first is go through and pull every perennial out. Once we got all the perennials out, we're going to go ahead and prep the bed, add compost, add our amendments, and till. And then we are going to divide the perennials that we have and create a new design through these two open beds. And we'll show you what that looks like. Another thing to look for once you've got all of the plants out of the bed is the height of your soil. And a lot of times between all the mulch over the years, you can get some mounding, especially if you're up against a fence or a house. You want to make sure you don't really have too much soil along wood. In this case, this is a PVC fence, so we don't have to worry about it too much. But over here where the brick edge is, the soil was up above it. So we're taking it down a bit. And we're going to bring in some compost. So take a look at how your gardens look and the amount of soil you may have in them. It may be worth just removing a few inches and starting with some fresh stuff. Alright, so we have all of the perennials out of the garden beds. We've got them divided and placed on our tarp over there, as you can see. So the next thing we did was we added all of this compost. We're going to spread it out, add our amendments, and we're going to go ahead and till it. Then we'll be ready for the new perennial design.
The next step in renovating your perennial garden is really to organize what you've got. What you can see here is we've got lots of divisions. Everything's been cut down to a nice size, maybe 2/4, 1 gallon. But what you can also see is things are wilting. So what we're doing is we're watering. Don't be afraid to water these plants outside of the garden. Get them nicely hydrated, have a pair of gloves if you're afraid of mud, and get ready to start placing. So now the next step is to place your plants. And what you can see here is I've got some divisions in my hand, but I have some new plants here. So what I'm trying to do is work with some good solid perennials that I got out of this garden, but there were some holes. For instance, this garden had kind of a consistent height of about here or really low, and it didn't have anything tall. And up against this white fence, I want some height. So I got some globe thistle, which is going to grow to about this tall, and I got a beautiful peony that's going to get really fat. So part of putting this garden back together is using what you've got, but also adding some choice pieces that are going to make the garden shine. So what's really great, what makes a perennial garden strong, is to have a repeating element. This daylily, they were huge clumps like this. Divided them up, and now what we're doing, as you can see along this garden, we're using them as a backbone, a repeating element that's going to give some nice texture throughout this garden to make it cohesive.
So Monique laid out all of the divisions and the new perennials. So we're just going ahead and planting now. keep in mind that as you're doing your own renovation to really pay attention to the moisture in the soil, and as well as the soil and the perennials. If they're really dry, you want to make sure they're soaked first before you plant them. It's just going to help them out that much more. So we'll catch back up with you when we're ready to mulch. So we just finished up putting down some buckwheat mulch, which are really just a small shell or a hull, and they're great for perennial gardens. Same amount of weed prevention as your normal mulch. Bit of a different look, but something we love to use when we're renovating perennial gardens. If you have any questions about this video blog, feel free to post your questions on our blog page. From all of us here at the Garden Continuum, thanks for watching.